So it sounds, I know that it airs tonight, so you can't give me any of the nitty gritty deets, right? But it sounds like you're doing, like you really are into this now. Like it sounds like, all right, I'm head in, I'm like pot committed. Is this it? Like, is this your thing? Is this your new thing, your new grind outside of nursing? Like, are you really all about the Ninja Warrior? You want to get back in another year? Or are you
Yeah,
like
you know
set and
what?
done?
Yeah, no, I would love to. I had so much fun competing and like with the whole experience that I would love to do this for as long as I can. So I've already started training for next year, so I'm hoping I get a call to be back on the show again.
That's amazing. So let's talk about the show, right?
Okay.
Because it's a show, like you said, it's a TV
Hmm.
show. Maddie, be real with me, right? I'm a fellow nurse. You could be honest here. You could be honest here. Is it legit? Like, is it actually real? Like, like when you fail during the obstacle course, is that when you actually fail? Do they give you multiple tries and just keep the best? Like, is it legit? Is it real? Like, are we seeing your one and only attempt through the obstacle course?
Yes, so that part is 100% real. So
Okay.
the only time that you get to see the obstacle course before you do it is when they walk through it with rules. And so they'll tell you like what you can and can't do on this obstacle, but then they hold you back in this little like corral and you sit there and just have to wait for your turn. And so you only get that one chance. You don't get to try out the obstacles at all before you do them. And so but there are aspects of it that aren't as real. Like they'll film the crowd cheering or like sad that somebody fell when there's nobody on the course just to get some b-roll and stuff. So there's definitely aspects that they do just for the show, but as far as like the actual runs, all of that is real.
Is 100% real.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of the Ninja Warrior. I just got to be honest. I was super happy that you were in it, and like as a nurse, that's how I got into it and started looking at the things up. But like, how competitive are you? Because it sounds like you're super competitive. You did gymnastics your entire life. You competed in college. Were you like hardcore competitive? Like, you don't even talk to the other competitors on the show. You want nothing to do with them. You talking shit. Like, like how competitive are you? And how was that? Because they can only have one winner, right? Like there's
Right.
so how was that whole dealing with the others, trying to be nice, but at the same time being like, I'm not here to be a friend type situation.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like I got there and it's like a community of awesome people and they all are wanting to help you. And so I got there and like I met some of the big names and like they were giving me tips on how to get through the course. And so it's kind of like everybody against the obstacle course. And so we all kind of have this common goal of taking the obstacle course down. And so we're willing to help each other and cheer for each other. And so I think that it's actually a really good environment that way. And so I don't feel like I hate any of the other competitors or I want them to do bad. I just want to do like the best that I can.
You're a much better person than I am. You, I would have slipped some laxatives in some of these homeboys. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh, but good for you. Good for you. So you did mention some of the big guns, right? And again, like I know nothing about Ninja Warrior, but Travis Rawson or Rosen or whatever his name is. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I do.
So it's, I guess it was big news that for those who don't know, he's a 9-time competitor and he was considered one of the pillars in the Ninja Warrior sport. He's been there from the get, and then he announced his retirement. Did you get to meet him? And is he as big of a deal in the Ninja Warrior scene as the internet makes him out to be?
Yes, so I did get to meet him in Vegas, and he is an amazing ninja. And it's funny because I actually didn't watch the show growing up, and so once I like was on the show or like going to be on the show, I like had to go back and try and
Yeah.
catch up and watch some of the seasons. And so I got there and I didn't even know who some of the big names were, which was kind of embarrassing. But no, I totally met Travis in Vegas, and I mean, he's legit. He's done some crazy stuff on that course. So,
Good for you. Good for, I mean, like of course, like it's not it wasn't your favorite show. It doesn't, but
mm-mm.
you were ready to compete and you did what you needed to do. I mean, you made the goddamn finals. We're gonna get there in just one second.
Okay.
Another thing that I was confused by is, like, what is this whole safety pass thing in Ninja Warrior? Like, what is that about? I'm super confused at what that means, what that is. What is a safety pass in the Ninja Warrior world?
Yeah, so that's something that they actually just added this season.
Yeah.
And so the fastest two people in each city, with each, like with the city qualifiers and the city finals, they get to go to the safety pass. So for the city qualifiers, you go to the safety pass or the power tower, and then the fastest person gets the safety pass, and that guarantees them a trip to Vegas.
Oh
And
wow.
then for the city finals, the fastest two people, the one that wins the power tower gets a safety pass, so that if they fall at any point in Vegas on stage 1 or stage 2, then they get to try again.
Word. Word.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just like, so if you do very, very well in the early rounds, you just get a it's basically like a fast pass at Walt Disney, right? Like Disney World. Like, so you get to skip the line, you get a second chance because you did so well in the priors. That's what I assumed it was, but I was super confused because sometimes they would call it the fast pass, sometimes they call it the safety pass. But anyways, it makes sense, and it is exactly what I assumed. So let's talk about your actual runs, right? What obstacle? And I don't know what the names of the obstacle are. So please describe them
I
when
don't
you do.
either, so
Oh, good.
I
Oh,
did
good.
them and I can't even remember the names, so no worries.
I hear you. So because these obstacle courses are very, very, very long, right? So I do CrossFit, and I know what it takes to just hang on a bar, do a couple of pull-ups. When you talk about grip strength, the amount of time that you guys spend just hanging from your arms is insane. It's on a different level, right? So I don't know if the what's it called? So not the finals because that's airing tonight, but the preliminary round, the obstacle that you fell on, was
the
it
city finals, the floating monkey bars?
Yes, exactly. Was that because your arms were tired, or did you actually fall during the floating monkey bars because it was a very difficult obstacle, or both?
Yeah, I actually didn't feel that tired when I got to that point, and I was kind of surprised. I don't know if it was just like adrenaline, and so I didn't feel like pumped out yet or anything, but I feel like my hand just slipped off, but it wasn't because I was tired. So the hard thing about those bars that people don't know though is that they actually spin because there's
Oh
nothing holding
shoot!
them in, and so you actually have to keep your wrist locked, and if not, then it just falls right out of your hand. So I think
Tense.
that's what happened.
Yeah. No. Fair enough. Fair enough. You know, it's everything there. It looks super super. You guys make it look super easy when you like fly on through, but like attempting any of that stuff is difficult at a level like I can't even comprehend. It's a very, very, very hard thing to do. It's a very, very hard thing to do. A couple more questions here. Where was I? Oh, so yeah, I also saw that Ninja Warrior does this thing where it's like the USA versus the world. Have you
Oh
heard
yeah.
about that? And if you were ever invited, would you want to be part of the Ninja Warrior American team?
Oh yeah, if I was ever invited, that would be awesome. I mean, they only take the best of the best to go for USA against the world, and it's a lot more of like a fun atmosphere when you're competing because you're like on a team and you're all cheering for each other, and it's just a lot more laid back. And so I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Exactly, and I think it would be super cool. But like, I also don't know how that would work as a team sport, right? Is it just like everybody gets to go through the obstacle and then they like point you based on how far you get on? Like, how does a team Ninja Warrior scene work? Do you even know?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not super familiar with it, but I know that like I think you choose one person to take on each of the different stages, and then if they make it through, then they get a point for your team.
Yes.
And so I'm not sure exactly how it works though.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. You're not on the team. It makes sense.